All right, group, let's talk about strategic thinking. I've used this over and over again, sometimes not even realized that I was doing it. A great example of strategic thinking is December 2019, January of 2020. And we start to see the noise of COVID coming along inside of our fitness business. And we started making changes inside of how we handled equipment, how we cleaned, how we washed hands, all those things that everyone ended up doing ultimately in March and April. We were deployed in January, February, just to make our members as comfortable as possible. We started limited class sizes, so strategically thinking ahead. Some of the challenges that affect us just is simple of operational focus. You're too focused on the mission right in front of you that you're not looking at that bigger picture, and that can just derail your strategic or your long-term focus attention. So resistance to change is you like the way things are, status quo. I go back to, again, using that same example. If we were going to try, ultimately what we ended up doing in fitness was switching to an online program. The governor of Virginia shut down in-person gyms altogether. So we had pivoted into Zoom and some other platforms before everyone else had switched into this. And had we not been ready to adapt, ready to change, that would have affected us. It affected us horribly, but would have affected us worse than what it actually did. And then just anticipating future trends, developing foresight, those when you look at those are skills that need to be developed over time. So those are some things that really hinder us and hold us back. But just trying to get your mind working about just a continuity plan. When you look at strategic thinking from a very small level, is if you're an internet, if your company relies on the internet to function, what are you going to do when the internet cuts off? If your company relies on the telephones to ring for a sales team to be able to make sales, what plan do you have in place when the phone systems go down? Power outages. Strategic thinking lets you put continuity plans and things in place that will help you overcome those little small things that all of a sudden become very, very big things. But some of the things that are impacted is just our long-term vision. We take a step back. Again, I reference traction. The book sometimes this is where you can really focus on your goals and your quarterly rocks. Is you can do that by planning events with your leadership team to where you can really sit down and focus on last year's revenue per quarter, last year's successes, last year's failures, and strategically sit down and work out a plan to how we can improve and how we can increase our profits from quarter to quarter, year to year. Overall decision making is you're not rushed to judgment. You've already got a plan in place that you can deploy strategically when these things come up. Whatever issues that may arise, you've already been thinking about them. You already have a plan in place. In some of the companies I've helped develop this is we've developed software, we've developed better communication. It helped us innovate within the company to have a better plan to be able to attack our problems. And then when your team knows that you have a plan in place, it makes it super easy for the team to know that we had a fire. We had a fire at a business I was working at. One of our suppliers had a fire, and when the business had the fire, was a direct supplier of ours. And when the team came to me, I was like, I already had a plan in place for this years ago. So they were nervous that it was going to interrupt our operations, like fires, COVID, shutdowns, whatever, power outages. they were concerned, and I was like, hey, I've already got a plan in place. The one thing I didn't do was I hadn't communicated that I had a plan in place. But once the team realized that we had a plan in place and we were ready to continue operating business as usual, it helped them realize that we weren't some fly-by-night organization. We did have their backs, because they're looking for their paycheck on Friday or every 2 weeks, whatever that looks like. They want to know that they're going to be getting paid and that we're going to continue to be a strong organization. So keep that in mind. And then it just increases your organizational agility. You can, when you have plans in place, when you have strategically planned out your first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, you have a playbook that you're able to go back to. On that side of it, when you have strategically planned out your continuity plan, that means your business is going to continue to operate, whether it's life, death, power outages, what have you, is that helps just bring it. You're able to pivot and focus on things that make you money versus things that take away from that. So some things that we can do to help our strategic thinking is stay informed about your industry, about trends that are going on. Again, looking back into December 2019, January 2020, and seeing what was coming down the pipeline from China and Europe and the countries that were being initially affected by COVID, and how that was ultimately going to be affecting us. Scenario planning is a big one. That's a good one, is just working through all the scenarios that's going to cause any type of business interruption, things that you can do scenario-wise that is going to help your vision come to life, that you've played out the scenarios. We used to do that in public safety, where we would have mass casualty incidents and we would test the systems inside the hospital, inside of our 911 center, and law enforcement, all those places, is we would strategically test all of our resources to make sure that they could, when the real life scenario came along, that we were able to handle the situation. And then it lets you look at all angles, just different perspectives altogether. So two things as we're wrapping up here that really can affect this is just allocating time. I worked in one company where they just never made time. I had to find time within my day to work on continuity plans and strategically plan all the things that I was working on. But a great way to do this is have the ownership and leadership team, where they sometimes will meet off-site, where they have clarity of vision and they bring their top ideas to the table, and they sit down and brainstorm, whiteboard, what have you, and they come up with a strategic plan that is going to see them into the next year, unforeseeable future, however that is going to be deployed within the business. And then reflecting on past decisions, whether they're good decisions or whether they're bad decisions. Remember, success leaves clues, but so does failure. Hope it helps y'all. Let me know send me a message. Let me know what I can do to help you. Be sure to like, share, comment. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you all for sharing everything, following along. Can't thank you enough. Have a good one.